Good morning, campers. You have joined me just as we begin to go up a little mountain you probably haven't heard of called Monteagle. Let's just get our hazard lights on right now. And you heard that lovely little warning bleep. One for the fact that we were very close to the white line, which was totally fair. And then another one for the tweedly noise was my truck letting me know there was a guardrail there. I have a blind spot sensor on the passenger side of the truck. I don't know if I've mentioned that too often in videos. It doesn't really come up that often. But when the if the hazard lights or the right turn signal are on, then it will give me a little tweedle noise anytime it detects an object within like 12 feet of the right side of the truck, which is nifty, but extremely annoying. I have eyeballs, but you know, I see how it could be useful. I can't recall any incident where it tweedled me about something that I didn't already know was there, but I'm sure at some point it's helped me out. I don't know. I just ignore it now. Maybe not the intended side effect. It's real useful when backing. I'll give it that. It's handy to have a tweedly-dee noise when I'm backing if somebody does something stupid, like walk up next to my truck while I'm trying to back in. And it's like, hey, something there. And it's like, wait, what? Because I'll be looking out the other window trying to line up with a spot if somebody stupid walks up on the side of the truck with the blind spot sensor. It'll let me know. That's happened more than once. So yeah, that's come in handy. Yeah, I guess it's been useful a couple of times. I don't typically get in the left lane at all, so it doesn't really do much good for telling me when people are passing me on the right. The only times I ever seem to get passed on the right are when that's like an on-ramp or something. I'm not moving to the right, you know? And it only works when the turn signal on, so when the turn signal is on. Words, they have meanings and they have articles and stuff. Use all of the words. Be a Monteagle, Tennessee, big famous mountain. Not too bad of a slog. We're doing like 44, 43 mile an hour up this hill. And we're at 79,500 pounds gross. So that's pretty good, honestly. It is not that steep of a hill when you're on the climbing side. Downhill though, it's a bear. There's definitely lots of steeper mountains out there, but I have seen more people smoke their brakes coming down Monteagle than just about any other mountain pass in the country. The two where I see people smoke their brakes most often are Monteagle and Tehachapi Pass in California, Highway 58 coming into Bakersfield. I see people smoke their brakes on that all the time. And it seems like every time I come down Monteagle going toward Chattanooga, I see somebody smoke their brakes before I get to the bottom. So, fun stuff, even though there's literally a mandatory brake check at the top where you have to pull up to a stoplight, bring your truck to a complete stop in order to trigger the light, and then go forward. And there's handy dandy, here's where all the escape ramps charts are on that brake check area too. Even though that's up there, people still somehow lose their brakes going down that mountain. So, I don't get it, but what do I know? I'm just a truck driver. I'm just a truck driver with functioning engine brakes. We are on a super tight load. I'm still not 100% sure we can even make this delivery. Today is the 4th of August, and we have all day. We've got 4.5 more hours left today. It's currently 4:34 Mountain Time, 5:34 Central Time, PM, and we have until 3-something PM Mountain Time on the 6th to get this delivered. So we've got to somewhere by another 2 hours because we're still like 1,200 miles from our delivery right now. So we've got to pick up another 2 hours of 2 hours of driving in there somewhere. But it's super tight because there was a little bit of miscommunication on this load. See, we're hauling Actually, I don't know when this is going to get uploaded. Let me just tell you, I picked up this load in Tampa Bay, Florida, and if you have any conceptions about what products Florida might ship out to the rest of the country, you're probably right. So I've got like 45,000 pounds of the stuff, and I'm taking it to a place that is 2 days drive from where I am right now, and I have 2 days worth of driving to do to get there. So it's a little bit tighter than I would like, just on the whole. I think we can do it. It's just going to be really, really tight. There was some slight miscommunication with picking up the load, because the customer down in Tampa does not allow. There's no parking anywhere near the place. Period. You can't stay on their property. You can't stay nearby, and you can't call and check on your load. You're supposed to just trust them to contact you when the load is ready. Which usually the company, usually Prime or Jim Palmer Sales, will let me know when the trailer's ready. It's cool. And I just sat in near Jacksonville, Florida, on the Georgia side of the line for over a day. I got a reset in, waiting for this load to be ready, and finally it's like 12 hours before the drop dead time. I'm like, well, I'm like required to not be late. In order not to be counted as late, I have to at least show up at the customer once before the drop dead time. So even if the load's not going to be ready in time, I still have to go to the customer and check in there at least once. So I'm like, oh, I better do that now so I can go to sleep and then pick up the load at like midnight whenever it drops. Because it was supposed to drop last night at midnight at the latest. So I went in at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was ready. It was ready. It was just sitting there ready, and nobody had bothered to tell me. It's like, okay, cool, I guess. So, we got it, and we're running, and we're making good time. Aside from the whole climbing a mountain at 40 mile an hour thing. Well, we're making pretty good time, but it's just possibly not enough. Possibly not enough. I don't know. We're doing 62 on this run just so they can't like say, well, why didn't you drive faster if I don't make it in time? But tomorrow is Monday, so I'll check with my dispatcher and see if they can't buy me a couple hours at the receiver. Get me a different appointment, maybe. We'll see. Yeah, so other than that, this is going great. It's been a beautiful day. We got through Atlanta. There were only 2 backups in Atlanta. Can you believe that? 2 backups. We got through the 75-285 interchange without a backup. It was just smooth sailing. I've never seen that before. I've always run into traffic there. Let's turn off the hazard lights because we're above 45 mile an hour. And we want to have the hazard lights off for a moment before we start signaling our intentions to merge into the center lane. Yes, thank you. That way the people behind us can't say, oh, we just didn't notice you switched from hazards to turn signal. Should anything happen. It makes people, if there's a lull between your hazard lights and your turn signal, makes people more likely to notice the turn signal. Otherwise, they're just going to assume it's still your hazard lights that's flashing. Because people are not observant, and you have to account for that. People notice things that change, not things that stay mostly the same. Yeah, sure, that came out all right. I don't know what's going on today. Everybody's just speeding like crazy. I've clocked like a dozen vehicles on this road at 90 plus mile an hour today. I don't know why people are in such a hurry. The speed limit here is 55. That dude's doing 84. And he's not even the fastest one in that pack. Why is everybody in such a hurry? I don't get it. It's apparently been a bad week for for Palmer folks, because they've sent out like 2 reminders in the last few weeks that there's a couple of issues that are zero tolerance at Palmer, and among them are use of cell phones while driving. That is a zero tolerance policy. You get in trouble for that, you are fired immediately, or your lease is canceled, depending on what your status is. All right, 45-mile-an-hour truck speed limits. And set. All right, cruise control on, descent control on, 45-mile-an-hour set for our top speed down this mountain. And let's see how the auto handles Monteagle. We are 79,500 pounds. Once again, very heavy, very close to our maximum weight. Oh, car, please don't run into the side of my trailer. You did not. Very good job. Very close to our maximum weight. As we go down this hill, and we are in full auto mode. We're not doing manual shifting on this hill. I just want to see how the auto handles it. If the auto is not able to hold us at 45, we will begin using manual mode and downshifting and stuff. So far, the auto's doing all right. We're at about 47 mile an hour. The cool thing with descent control is you just set a speed, and it moderates the engine brakes to keep you at that speed. And it also downshifts and whatnot. There we go, we're at 45 now, so it's doing all right. This isn't that steep of a downgrade. We don't need to worry too much, I don't think. Old Apophis handling this quite nicely. Old Apophis, just crossed the 100,000 mile mark. We just got our second oil change. Our second oil change, our first annual truck inspection. Well, second for the truck, technically, but first for me in the truck. The truck got one annual inspection before I ever drove it. But, like, it was a factory. It was inspected before we bought it, I think. Because I picked up the truck in, like, October, and it was, like, fresh on the Palmer yard. And the inspection was from last July, so I take it got inspected a bit before we took possession of it. So presumably by the dealership or something. We have turned off our engine brakes. I don't know if the speed limit is still 45 or not. It does appear to still be 45, so let's get descent control back on. I thought that was the bottom. Apparently it's not. It's fine. Apophis can handle that. Yeah, there we go. Nice and slow. If that's not the bottom, where's the bottom? Gosh, uphill's going real slow. Is that a Palmer? No, it's a Wiltrans. Hi, Wiltrans! Got similar paint schemes to us because they are owned by the same person. Wilson Logistics is the parent company for both Jim Palmer Trucking and Wiltrans Trucking. In fact, when Wiltrans first bought Jim Palmer, all of our trucks had operated by Wiltrans on the side because the whole Wilson Logistics moniker hadn't been created yet. But now Wilson Logistics is the parent company, and Wiltrans and Jim Palmer are both separate fleets within that company. It's very cool. Very cool. Lots of little heritage things scattered about. I was looking at Google Street View on the Jim Palmer terminal in Missoula, And it has been a while since the Street View car went past the Jim Palmer terminal. In fact, it's been so long that there's still old Jim Palmer trucks in the terminal in the video, or in the Street View. Like a really nice old Pete 389 right by the fence. Of course, the pictures are from like 2014, so it looks terrible. The picture quality from the Street View cars at the time, not good. Not good. Yeah, I know, buddy, I know. Very upset about that white line. Speed limit's still 45. I really thought we'd be at the bottom by here. I mean, the oncoming traffic's still going pretty darn fast, so I feel like we can't be that far up the hill at this point. Can I at least go back to 55, please? Pretty please, sugar on top. Give me back my normal speed limit. I've had to turn my engine brakes off multiple times so that the cruise control would just kick in and keep us at 45. There we go, there's the bottom. 55, 61, 2. There we go. Alrighty. That was Monteagle. Thank you all so much for joining me. My name is Ellie O'Dare. You can find me on the internet at Ellie O'Dare on Twitter and Xbox Live and Steam and basically everywhere else where I can get that username. Average bobtail apparently governed at 62. That's an interesting development. I did not know that. Let's back off a little bit so he can get back in the right lane, huh? No, this guy's going to pass him on the right because he's an idiot. Don't hit him, don't hit him, don't hit him! Guy, use your turn signal so these people stop trying to pass you. Dang it, Everett. Use your turn signal. Alright, you're good, man. Still no turn signal. Wow. Oh boy, trucking is fun, isn't it? Anyway, come say hi on Twitter. Twitter's the best place to get a hold of me. I've got the username at Ellie O'Dare, no apostrophe in the username. You can find me on Twitter basically every time the truck's not moving if I'm not asleep. So come say hi and hang out. And you can always tell when I'm driving because I listen to podcasts, and all of the podcasts I listen to that aren't like Patreon feeds will auto share to Twitter. So you can see every time I listen to an episode of a podcast that I do not give money to. Which is amusing that it's all the ones that I don't pay for that end up auto-publishing to my Twitter feed. But hey, Patreon podcast feeds are private, so you can't share them. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all on Twitter. Thank you for watching. I said that like 4 times now. Have a great day. That's a really, really dark cloud in front of us. Nashville's gonna be fun.